Well, I started playing piano when I was 3 years old. And I'm from a musical family. My mother plays and my sister plays. And I started when I was 3, and I started playing organ when I was about 6. Well, no, it was mainly by ear. But I did take about 26 lessons with a teacher. And I kind of cheated because we had 2 pianos in the room, and he would play the piece that I was going to learn for me first, and then I kind of memorized parts of it, But I did take 26 lessons, and I learned a bit of reading. Oh, Ray Charles definitely was a big influence. And I think it's because Ray Charles's music is very much like gospel music. And I can relate to that. Oh, yeah, that was like a dream come true to work with Ray Charles. Because when I was playing gospel music, I used to dedicate 15 minutes a day to Ray Charles. I'd put my shades on and close my eyes and, just dedicate 15 minutes to him. Yes, well, that happened because he was a minister at the time. And, of course, I was playing in church, and he invited me to do a gospel tour in Europe. And so I got out of school to go do it, and we got over there, and it turned out to be a rock and roll show. And Richard said he'd never sing rock and roll again. And we got there, Sam Cooke was on the show, the Beatles, and a lot of English acts were on the show. And Richard's a showstopper, so he couldn't stand to see anybody take his show. So he went out and sang one gospel song, and he went into rock and roll. And that was the first time I'd played rock and roll. And I was totally amazed at this guy. He was a great entertainer. I said, hey, I'd like to do that to audiences. Yeah, well, it's just the energy. I admire Little Richard's energy. I mean, like, he would come on stage for openers in a concert in the round. He would jump off the second balcony for openers, and the energy that we would just put people in a rage. And people like James Browne, people that work really hard on stage, I really admired, and I try to do that myself. Well, when I first saw them, and out of all of the English acts that were on the show, I liked them best, because of their harmonies, and they had a look that was kind of odd, and they were nice guys, so I'd always stand in the wings and watch them, and they used to dedicate A Taste of Honey to me, and we kind of became friends because they were like curious about Little Richard and about America, and so they'd come to me and ask questions and stuff, so we hung out. In fact, I remember getting them free steaks and free Cokes at the Star Club in Hamburg, Germany. I remember when I came back to America from that tour, I brought back P.S. I Love You and Taste of Honey. And I never thought that they would be as big as they were. And I kept hearing the Beatles are coming. I was amazed, And then when I saw them again, they were like still the same little lads, They were unaffected by everything that happened. Well, I was invited on stage one night because my organ was on stage for Richard. And George had asked me to come on out and play with him. And I said no because Little Richard would get mad. And he was the star of the show, And there's kind of a policy with some people that, you don't play with nobody else but them. But I wish I had then, but I did get a chance later. Oh, it was like every night we would, there would be like 5 or 6 bands on the show, and Richard would close the show. And, it was great, because everybody hung out and it was good rock and roll. Sam Cooke was definitely a vocal stylist, I would say. And his personality was great. He was a very warm person, a very happy kind of guy. And he was singing all the time and kind of writing songs. And in fact, I did my first album for Sam Cooke, 16-Year-Old Soul. I did for Sam. We did it in 3 hours.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I was really proud, because I said, hey, I remember those guys. I had some pictures, from Hamburg and stuff. I was showing everybody, hey, look at it. And when I first saw them, on the first tour, I was in San Francisco, and I went over to see them. And we hung out one night, and I went to the Cow Palace, and I was in the dressing room before they went out. And it was exciting, and I was very happy for them. Oh, yeah. They were very happy. We went out and partied. Yes, in '64 at the Cow Palace. Couldn't hear anything. I thought it was great, but you couldn't hear a thing because the roar was fantastic. And they were kind of surprised and amazed by all the excitement, In the dressing room, they were saying, hey, what's going on? Everybody's going mad. Beatles people, what is this, They're like making a joke. Yeah, well, I was on tour with Ray Charles, and we were in London, and George Harrison was in the concert. And he said, hey, that looks like Billy Preston. So he called around and found out it was me, and he called me at the hotel and invited me over to see the guys. So when I got there, they were filming Let It Be and recording, So they said, hey, Billy, we started reminiscing and playing old rock and roll songs. And they said, hey, come on, sit in. You want to stay over and help us finish the album? Take a solo, Just made me remember the band, I was in the Beatles office every day, breakfast with them at lunch and everything. It was exciting, It was fabulous. Well, Mel Evans had told me that before I got there, it was kind of they were going through a lot of depression, and that he was glad that I came around because it gave him a lot of life and made them happy a little bit. Oh, it was exciting because John, we were trying to figure out where to have a concert where everybody could come, and so John came up with the brilliant idea to let's play on the roof and play for everybody, and it was great because we knew the police were going to come. But we had a chance to do all the songs we wanted to do, and it was like planned perfectly, I haven't seen it in a while, but hey, man, I remember it's like yesterday. Well, I played on the other albums as well. I played on Something, and I played on the White Album, and a bit of Abbey Road. And so, over that period of time while they were doing Let It Be, they were working on other projects as well. Like I would play certain pieces on, like I had Something, and I did... I Want You, I played on. No, I played the da 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 da. Just a little piece in that, on the piano. Yeah, it was less tension, and they were out of Apple Studios. Apple Studios became a headache for them too because they kept trying to get equipment that they wanted, and so they were back in Abbey Road, and it was kind of comfortable for them. John was good. He was a good rhythm guitar player. He used to tickle me because he would make faces. He was really a funny guy, and. He was very witty, man, and just, he would keep you laughing, And, oh, man, he was really a sweet guy. And I miss him very much, but, wow. What do you say? Yeah, I mean, he would play the tonic, He would give you the basic root of the tune and the chord structure, and it was really solid playing. Oh, George had some unique lyrics. I mean, kind of, his solos are like a singer would sing, He had like style, kind of like a crying kind of technique, He was a really good player. I mean, he's a very emotional guy. He's very spiritual and sensitive and very kind-hearted person. I spent most of the time with George. In fact, when I first joined Apple, everybody was going to cut a couple of tracks on me. And at the time, John had Yoko, and Paul was kind of getting leery about the office and everything. So me and George hung out, and he helped me do my projects for Apple. So we spent most of the time together. Definitely. I mean, we feel like we're together all the time just through spirit, And I haven't seen him for a while, but every time I'm there, I have my bedroom in Fire Park, and my organist there, and my pictures up over his studio. And yeah, it's really great. Well, if I get time and a chance to do it, I definitely will do it, and that's been the only problem. We haven't been together because he's kind of been doing his thing, and I'm very happy with it, what he's doing in movies, and then I'm doing my thing. So whenever we get a chance, we'll always be together. Oh, his studio's fabulous. His place is fabulous. Henley-on-Thames. His 85-room castle, 2 10-room cottages on it, lakes, caves. Oh, it's fabulous. Yeah, Get Back was like a funk tune to me. It was like a, really soulful kind of a song, and I loved it. And they said, hey, take a solo. So I just played whatever, played my heart out. Let It Be was a great song. I mean, that song inspired That's the Way God Planned It. And, it was great, that song. And I had a solo on that, too. And it was great. I think Capone, they used to write some funny songs, It's amazing the ideas that they would come up with, because John would come up with a line and Paul would come up with different things. And John's writing was really, really unique, because he'd play on words and stuff. And Paul's was very melodic, and it was great music, just to see them put it together. Oh, I love that. I got a feeling. And that was a soulful song, too. And like I was saying, the way they kind of counter-write each other. John had a little part that he was singing, and and Paul had his thing, and it was like two different things altogether, but they fit. Sweet Lord was. I remember one night we were on tour with Eric Clapton, and we were recording my album, and in fact I recorded My Sweet Lord about 6 months before George did. It was great. I remember one day he bought me an organ for his house, and he had the Hare Krishna people staying there for a while. And I remember one day I was on the organ, and one of the Hare Krishna people came in, and he started chanting Hare Krishna. And I was singing My Sweet Lord, or something, He said, oh, my Lord, Hare Krishna. And we just had service there together. And in his house, he had pictures of Buddha, Krishna, Jesus. It was a very spiritual and warm place. So one night he said, how do you write a gospel song? And Bonnie and Delaney was on the tour, and we just started singing, And he got the idea, and he went and wrote My Sweet Lord, and came out great. I just hate that he had the flack about it, but it's okay. Oh yeah, it was kind of frightening for George because that was like the first time he'd been, headlining, and then he worked so hard. He worked hard putting the album together, and then he worked hard getting the band together, and rehearsals. And by the time the tour started, his voice had gone, and he was a bit nervous, and so I was trying to give him all the support, that I could. And his idea about the Indian musicians, I thought was fantastic because the cultures and everything was great. I mean, we lived great together. They had the Indian food, we had our food, and we kind of exchanged ideas. It was great. Okay, well, that's the way we got planned it. I remember when we went into the studio, he said, I'm going to have a few friends come over and play on it. And he got Ginger Baker on drums, Keith Richards played the bass, and Eric Clapton played guitar. And, it came out great. It was fantastic. The feeling, everybody enjoyed themselves. And I was turning because I didn't know who they were. I was kind of surprised. Yeah, he's anytime we're together, he plays on my stuff, I play on his stuff. Oh, yeah, that was a great night. We did 2 shows. And the first show, I didn't dance, but the second show was just the spirit was so high, man, I couldn't sit any longer. And the idea of the show was great because all of the musicians got a chance to play together. And then plus we were doing something good, for other people. And, it was a great event. Yeah, well, we rehearsed maybe about 3 days. About 3 days here in New York. Oh, yes, he was very nervous about it. And, but everybody was saying, oh, come on, George, you can do it. You're really encouraging him, and I was proud of him because he really did great. Yeah. Well, actually, the first number one was Out of Space.
Was it Space Race? Okay.
Out of Space, and it was surprising because instrumentals, they say, don't make number one records. And, in fact, that was recorded in one take, and it was supposed to be on the B-side. Well, it was on the B-side at first, and it seemed like everything I wanted was on the B-side, and they picked the A-side, and a disc jockey somewhere would turn it over, and that would be the hit. They were very surprised and kind of amazed because they didn't really know what to do with me. Like you said, I'm a bit of a mystery. They don't know what direction I might go in. Well, it was exciting and it was an achievement. I was very, very happy to accomplish that. But I've been around a lot of people that had millions of number one records, and I just just see how they live, and there's a responsibility with having a number one record, and a lot of people base their whole career, their whole life on having a number one record. And I don't know, I just think it's more important to be a personality and be human, have people like you, whether you have a hit record or not. And that's the way I feel. I was just playing these chord changes and said, will it go round in circles or will it fly high like a bird? Yeah. And I was probably talking about the record. Will it be a hit or a miss? Yeah, a lot of times, I don't really say I'm going to sit and write something. I'll sit at the piano sometimes and maybe be there 5 minutes, and then other times I'll be there hours. It just flows. I like to say it comes from heaven, from God through me to you. Well, it's a saying that I've heard all my life. Like old people would say that. And I was in, I believe it was New Orleans or someplace like that, and they had a piano in the dressing room, and I started playing kind of honky-tonk kind of feeling, and that's kind of how that started. Space Race was kind of a weird song. Like, Outer Space was the first time I played the clarinet, and Space Race was the first time I played an ARP synthesizer. And, so it was just like something new for me. It feels good to know that you're being played and people like you like your music. It's a recognition, and it makes you proud. But my mother always told me to let praise go in one ear and out the other. And it's for people to say that you're great, not to, build yourself up so much, just try to stay humble. Low is the way. Yeah. Yeah, I'll say, well, hey, at least they're playing it great. The record cover is working. Yeah. Yeah, it's a great feeling to hear your music played and kind of hear people singing your song or something walking down the street, or, it's great. It's a thrill for me to have people just realize that I wrote it. A lot of people, are still shocked by the fact that, I wrote that. True, that was the first time they'd ever played an E flat, and they were amazed. It was very excited. They couldn't wait to play Out of Space, and it was fun to me. They were a lot of fun. They're very nice people, and in spite of what a lot of people think about them, they used to say, hey, why are you on tour with the Rolling Stones? You believe in God, and they're devil worshippers. And I'd say, hey, man, They're nothing like that. Me and Mick would sit up and talk about God, and I asked Mick once, why do people always think that you guys are evil and stuff? He said, well, in the beginning, that was promotion and it made them famous. And they allowed it to happen, and they just let it go on, like that, and it's made them popular, and a lot of times they suffer behind it because they're really nothing like people think. No, I haven't had a chance to see them. Let me see. Keith, the last time I saw Keith was maybe about a year ago. He came out to my house in L.A., and we jammed, yeah. Goat's Head Soup. Goat's Head Soup was a fun album because we did it in Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica. And, wow, it was exciting because that was the first time I'd been to Jamaica, and, wow, we had a good time. Yeah, well, Melody was a song that I had some chord changes, and I was recording, and Mick had came to my session. And then just in between takes, I started playing these things, singing along. And we started singing, he said, Melody, and I started answering him, So we kind of completed the song, and they put it on the Stones album. And they gave me credit for, well, not writing, but inspired by, which is okay. Yeah, the Tour of America, that was a fun tour because we had the Starship plane. And it was fun because we could leave when we got ready, too. And it was a nice plane, and it was really a fun tour. It was rock and roll all day, all night, And one thing about the Stones, though, we'd stay up all night a lot of times. But after the shows, they'd get in the room, and make it come down to my room, and we'd sing and play, or we'd listen to the show that night and see what we can do better. So it was a really nice camaraderie with that band, they're really close. Yeah, it was a very great honor. I mean, and it was nice because I didn't ask, and they asked me, and it makes it feel good. Well, it was almost like they did, because, they would always ask me to, and a lot of times I would be trying to be busy doing my thing, and it was very hard because, I could have stayed there and just been there, but, I've never been in a band permanently, and I don't want to really do any one thing permanently. I like to move around and do different things. I get bored after a while doing, the same thing.